In this area of northern Kenya, almost 1 in 5 herds are orphan herds. This one is led by a young 13-year-old female called Habiba. So young, she lacks the knowledge and experience needed to keep them safe. The life of this young herd hangs constantly in the balance. Just one wrong decision can be fatal, as another orphan group discovered a few years ago. Their inexperienced leader decided to cross a river when it was in full flood. A huge error in judgment that put the lives of the young calves in danger. This family was lucky. The calves were washed ashore. But it's a reminder of how important an older, knowledgeable leader is. Habiba has a lot on her plate. Not only does she have the huge responsibility of keeping her herd safe, she's also a first-time mother to Zawadi, who's already proving quite a handful. Only a year old, he's a plucky little character, always wandering off on his own. Keeping him safe is a full-time job in itself. In such difficult terrain, good tracking skills are essential to work out where Matt has moved to since his last known position. A fresh footprint is just the sign the team need. The position of the front toe shows that Matt is heading south. But it's too risky to track a 7-ton musth elephant on foot in thick brush. So the team must navigate their way in by jeep. Soon, Matt is in sight, and he's not alone. He's in hot pursuit of a female. And the fact that he's guarding her suggests she's an estrus and ready to mate. But there are plenty of younger bulls here, and they're all interested in her too. For the next few days, until the female is no longer receptive, Matt must guard her 24/7. He also needs to show the young bulls who's boss. As he sees off the competition, the crew get caught in the action. But as they move out of the way, they run into more trouble. It's not a good time to get stuck on a log. Luckily, Matt is busy with the younger males. Having finally found a receptive female, Matt won't have a chance to mate unless he can get her away from the other males. And that's no mean feat. The latest tracking data shows that this year's gathering will soon be coming to an end. As the vegetation in the reserve starts to dry up, the elephants will take their cue and begin their journey home. Bulls will be dropping out of musth and moving on. And families will begin to disperse, heading back to their home ranges across northern Kenya. It's a bittersweet time for the scientists, as the constant threat of poaching means there's no certainty of seeing elephants like Matt again. With the herd soon disappearing, time is running out for Habiba and her family to find help. But her caller tells us she's heading in the direction of a well-established herd. Its leader is an experienced 50-year-old tuskless matriarch, the ideal kind of female for Habiba to learn from. Little Zawadi makes the first move and approaches a calf in the group. He's put in his place with a gentle nudge, but he doesn't retreat far. At last, they seem to have found a herd that will tolerate them. Desperate for a playmate, it's not long before Zawadi finds a slightly older calf willing to be his sparring partner. This is just the kind of interaction he needs. To grow into a majestic bull like Matt, capable of fighting off rival males, it's vital that he gets to play fight first within a family group like this one. After the two herds have been mingling for a while, something remarkable happens. As the tuskless matriarch leads her group away, the orphan herd leaves with them. Both families are now moving as one. Against all odds, the orphans have finally found a family willing to help them. At last, little Zawadi, Habiba, and the others have older elephants to learn from. Elephants who will hopefully give them the support they so desperately need. As the number of orphan herds increases, scientists are discovering that elephants are finding new ways to adapt. An intelligent, hyper-social species is learning to respond to the new challenges it faces. Over the past month, Samburu National Reserve has been the setting for a remarkable gathering. Using data from satellite collars, this has been a unique opportunity to see how young orphan herds are coping with the loss of their matriarchs. How bull elephants select females to pass on their legacy. And to witness incredible new elephant behavior. It's a lone wolf. Now that it's broken cover, the wolf is easy for the caribou to spot. It's taking a chance. A fully grown caribou weighs twice as much as the wolf does and has a powerful kick. But the opportunity of a prize kill is worth the risk. Having panicked the herd, the wolf looks for a weaker or slower individual. As the herd splinters and reforms, some of the caribou lose sight of their attacker, giving the wolf its opportunity. The wolf must grab the caribou by the throat. But one well-aimed hoof could end this battle in the caribou's favor. Survival is finely balanced up here. This time, the wolf has won. With just 10 days left to calving, time is against them. Taking the mountain route will add miles to the journey, causing a potentially disastrous delay. It would also bring them into contact with more predators. Just ahead, a bear is on the prowl. Despite the strong currents, the herd is forced to cross the river. The lead female enters the water, and the others follow. This could be a catastrophic mistake. The force of the meltwater has created a powerful set of rapids. But the caribou forge ahead regardless. The lead animals are struggling to make progress and are regularly sucked under by the powerful eddies. The rapids are overwhelming. Before long, the rest of the caribou have beaten a retreat. With nowhere left to turn, they opt for the mountain route. But that means heading directly towards a bear. And he isn't alone. A wolf slips through the trees below the caribou. Perhaps sensing the danger, they change course again, returning to the river further upstream. And from here, there's only one option. At this point, the river is slightly shallower than the first spot they tried, but the current is still strong. The older females in the group lead the way again. Suddenly, a yearling drifts away from its mother. Even some of the adults are struggling. The yearling is out of its depth, on its own and heading towards the rapids. But she has one thing on her side. Caribou fur is hollow to help insulate against the cold. Which means she can float. It's been a close call, but the break-off group have successfully rejoined the herd. With their goals so close, the pregnant caribou are even prepared to leave behind their yearlings to get there on time. Like their mothers, the yearlings are close to collapse. If this one can't find the energy to keep going, its chances are poor. On its own, it will quickly be taken by predators. Well over 5,000 caribou die during each spring migration, either from sheer exhaustion or predation. The only way to avoid that fate is to get up and move on. The lead caribou finally head out of the mountains and onto the coastal plains. After over 300 miles and barely any food, they've timed this migration to perfection. The cotton grass sprouts and flowers in the 2 weeks after the snow has melted. It's now at its most nutritious. The thousands of caribou now moving onto the plains are replenishing their reserves. And it's not just a case of simple refueling. Scientists have shown that eating the grass at this specific time helps the mothers to produce a richer milk for their newborn calves, greatly improving their chances of survival. This year's decision to remain on the plains for longer than usual may have something to do with the fact that this is an El Niño year. An oceanic event linked to the Pacific thousands of miles away, El Niño has wide-ranging atmospheric effects, and this includes delaying the rains in Africa. Perhaps the majority of zebra have responded to the lack of heavy rains by playing it safe in Chobe. But if the zebra want to give their foals the best possible start in life, they'll have to set off for Naipan soon. Of all the collared zebra, only Socks and her family are still moving south. So who's made the right decision? Socks is now 100 kilometers ahead of the others. She's picked up her pace to 8 kilometers per hour and is traveling in a straight line to Naipan. How does she know where to go? Incredibly, in the flat, featureless wilderness of Botswana, zebra navigate perfectly with no hills or landmarks for reference. Scientists still don't understand exactly how they do this. Until very recently, it was assumed these routes were learned and then passed down, generation to generation. But something happened in northern Botswana that turned this theory on its head. In the 1950s and 60s, extensive livestock fences were erected across the landscape in an attempt to stop diseases being transmitted from wildlife to domestic cattle. But the fences also prevented the annual movement of thousands of animals. Decades passed with several zebra migrations blocked. Then, a few years ago, the fences were removed, and these migrations started up once more, with the zebra using the exact same routes as in the past, despite the fact that no living zebra had ever made that journey before. This behavior simply couldn't have been learned, so how did they know where to go? It's an extraordinary mystery, and the subject of some of the most recent animal behavior research. Scientists now believe that one aspect of the knowledge of this route has been preserved in the genes of the zebra, something previously thought impossible. Elephants can respond to rain falling as far as 280 kilometers away. It's not yet certain how they do this, but it's thought they might be able to detect the low-frequency sounds of the distant storms. Although zebra can't hear at such low frequencies as elephants, perhaps they've evolved their own way of detecting distant storms, timing their migration to coincide with rains that fall 250 kilometers away in Naipan. But for now, the Chobe zebra are still staying put. There have been a few local showers, but something is stopping them from continuing their journey. The data from their collards show that they feed on the nutrient-rich grass in the burnt, wooded area during the day, and then travel back to the safety of the open plains at night. So why has Socks not done the same? Has she misread the cues? Or did another as yet undiscovered factor spur her on? It's becoming clear that the zebra's decision-making process is far more complex than first thought. A chance to check on Socks comes at one of the fire breaks. Swathes cut in the forest to stop fires spreading over large areas. The collar data shows that Socks is due to cross one at any moment. It should give the team a chance to assess her condition and, crucially, to see whether she's had her full. The team only get a glimpse of Socks, but it's enough. 90 kilometers from her destination, they can confirm that she's alive and well and yet to give birth. Information the satellite data alone could never provide. But it's also clear that there are only 3 zebra. Where is the rest of the family, and in particular, the stallion? Without his protection, these 3 are in even more danger of predation. Soon, after losing sight of Socks in the dense forest, her collar suddenly stops sending GPS location updates. Without this essential data, there is little chance of finding Socks in this vast wilderness. Her last known position is 40 kilometers from Naipan. The morning after the heavy rains, the zebra start to arrive. Janet's family is the first to be seen by the team. She was the first zebra ever recorded to make this migration, and once again, she's arrived just in time to enjoy the tender new grass shoots. In Chobe, Janet was part of a large family group of 15, but now there seems to be only 5. Hopefully, the rest of her herd haven't succumbed to exhaustion or predation. Soon, all the other families are pouring into the park. The next collared female to arrive is Spirit. She was pregnant when she set off with the others. We'll never know what happened to that foal, but it looks like her family have had a close call with predators. Fresh wounds on 3 of the zebra in this group are the unmistakable marks left by lions. And one young foal looks to have had a very narrow escape. Following the failure of Socks's GPS collar, the team doesn't know if she's made it to Naipan or not. But although the GPS part of her collar is no longer working, it may still be transmitting a VHF radio signal. On the ground, its range is just a few kilometers, but from the air, it's more like 40, which gives the team a chance to check if she's here in Naipan. Even so, in an area of 15,000 square kilometers, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Eventually, they do pick up a faint signal. It's Socks. After flying in a search pattern, they home in on her exact location. Socks has made it. The last time she was spotted, she was traveling with just 2 other zebra. Now she's in a group of 10. Socks appears to be in good condition. And she's in the company of a stallion, but there is no sign of her having a foal. Then something moves in the long grass. Her new foal is so small, it must have been born in the last day or 2. just in time for socks to feed on the nutritious new grass and provided with the best possible milk.